There's a debate about which route would be best for the continent and its people: Crimson Flower, the Blue Lion route, Verdant Wind, or Silver Snow. From most discussions I have seen, the two routes that receive the most support are Crimson Flower and Verdant Wind. Crimson Flower has several major problems, starting with how believable the premise actually is. It is difficult to accept that Byleth, the player character, would realistically side with Edelgard. She is directly or indirectly involved in multiple atrocities, betrays nearly everyone around her, and plays a major role in the events that lead to the main character's father, Gerald, being killed. A moment so devastating that it finally breaks through Byleth's composure, making him cry for the first time in his life. From a narrative perspective, the decision to align with her often feels forced rather than organically earned. Beyond that, Edelgard's ideology itself rests on questionable foundations. Many of her motivations are based on incomplete information or outright false assumptions about the Church and the history of the continent. Ironically, building a revolution upon misinformation mirrors the very accusations she directs toward Rhea and the Church. If her central justification relies on flawed premises, then both her methods and her long-term goals become difficult to defend. Even setting morality aside, her approach raises practical concerns. Attempting to reshape an entire continent through large-scale war and authoritarian reform risks creating instability rather than lasting progress. The methods she chooses undermine the very future she claims to be building. For a more detailed breakdown of the problems with the Crimson Flower route, I recommend watching videos by Boofire191 and TheHearthGuy. Their analyses focus heavily on Edelgard specifically, and since I do not want this discussion to revolve entirely around her character, their content provides a more focused examination of that topic. With that out of the way, let's move on to Verdant Wind. The central figure of this route is Claude, and the main issue I have with both his ideology and the ending is how optimistic it is compared to the realities of the setting. Claude's vision largely revolves around overcoming cultural prejudice, encouraging cooperation between nations, and treating people equally regardless of origin. While admirable in theory, this philosophy assumes that people can simply set aside deeply rooted differences. In practice, differences between cultures, beliefs, and interests often exist for tangible reasons. As long as those differences remain, conflict is likely to persist. This is especially true in a medieval world, where power structures, traditions, and inherited authority play a central role in maintaining order. The idea of absolute equality also runs into practical limitations. People differ in ability, temperament, ambition, and competence. Hierarchies emerge in every society precisely because individuals are not identical in these respects. While basic human decency should be extended to everyone, structuring an entire political system around the assumption of complete equality risks ignoring how societies actually function. There is also the question of political feasibility. Many nobles benefit directly from the existing system and would have little incentive to support Claude's reforms. Attempting to rapidly reshape social and international relationships could easily provoke resistance, instability, or even future wars. Rather than resolving conflict permanently, his ideals may unintentionally create new sources of tension. So which route provides the best outcome for the people of the continent? In my view, the answer is likely Silver Snow. Unlike the other endings, Silver Snow does not attempt to completely uproot the continent's existing institutions. The Church remains intact, preserving a shared religious structure that unites both nobles and commoners. Rather than dismantling the social order outright, the ending emphasizes continuity and gradual reform. Historically, the Church has served as a stabilizing force across the land, maintaining relative peace and preventing large-scale conflict for centuries. In this ending, one of its greatest moral failings, the false narrative surrounding the King of Liberation, is finally corrected. The truth becomes known, along with the reasons the lie was originally maintained. At the same time, Byleth ascends as a divine ruler, fundamentally changing the Church itself. Many of the questionable decisions associated with its previous leadership are no longer present. Authority becomes centralized under a figure who possesses both legitimacy in the eyes of the people and the power to guide the continent toward prosperity. Rather than pursuing rapid ideological transformation, Through war or idealism, Silver Snow prioritizes stability, while allowing reform to occur from within an already accepted structure. For a continent recovering from widespread conflict, that balance between continuity and change arguably offers the strongest chance at lasting peace, especially since Byleth is essentially immortal, meaning his ideals cannot be twisted by others over time, and people's loyalty to him would span generations.